At a crowded train station, an old, confused woman in dirty clothes stands helplessly, ignored by hundreds. People assume she's homeless. Some laugh. Some record her. But one teen, a young black boy named Malik, steps forward and holds her hand. What no one knows: she's not homeless, she's a missing billionaire with Alzheimer's. And that small act of kindness? It changes Malik's life forever. Before starting the story, make sure to subscribe the channel so that you don't miss any update in future. It started like any other Monday morning. The station was packed, phones out, coffees in hand, eyes glued to screens, and hearts glued to nowhere. People moved like machines, fast and cold. No one noticed her at first. Or maybe they did, and just didn't care. An old woman stood near platform 6. She wore a wrinkled beige coat 2 sizes too big and mismatched slippers on her feet. Her white hair was wild, her face tired. She clutched a handbag like it was the only thing left in the world that still belonged to her. She looked lost, not just in direction, in time, in life. People passed by, fast, careless. Some glanced, some giggled. One teenage girl whispered, "OMG, she smells like cat pee." Her friend laughed. No one stopped. No one asked. One man even shoved her slightly as he passed. She didn't react, just stared ahead, eyes wet but unfocused, like her mind was stuck somewhere far away, decades behind. The train announcements echoed. The smell of fast food lingered. And in all that noise, that chaos, she stood still, trembling, invisible. For 15 minutes, she didn't move. Not one soul asked if she was okay. Until a voice cut through the noise. Soft, unsure, but kind. "Ma'am, are you all right?" It came from Malik. 17. Hoodie on, headphones around his neck. Most people saw him as trouble. The type teachers gave detention before he even spoke. The kind security guards followed around stores. But Malik had eyes. Real eyes. The kind that see people. He had just finished a shift at the sandwich shop nearby and was waiting for his train when he noticed her. He watched her flinch every time a train passed. How she kept opening and closing her bag like she was trying to remember what was supposed to be in it. He walked over slowly. The people who ignored the old woman? Now they stared at him. What's he doing? Is he trying to rob her? Someone call security. But Malik ignored the looks. He crouched a little so he was at her eye level. She didn't answer, just kept blinking. "Ma'am," he tried again. "Do you need help finding someone? I can call someone for you. Or maybe just sit with you." Still, no answer. But she looked at him this time. And for a moment, her eyes softened. That's when something strange happened. She reached out and took his hand. It wasn't a weak old woman's hand. It was tight, like someone afraid, like someone holding on for dear life. And Malik? He didn't pull away. He squeezed back. "Okay," he whispered, unsure what to do. "I'm here. I got you." And just like that, in a crowd of hundreds, she wasn't invisible anymore. The whispers started again. Why is he touching her like that? This is weird. Maybe he's filming a TikTok prank. But Malik stayed focused. "Do you want to sit?" he asked, gently leading her toward a bench. She nodded, just barely. Her knees wobbled as she walked. A few people finally looked uncomfortable now, watching Malik help her down. But still, no one else moved. "Do you have a phone? A name tag? Anything?" Malik asked, checking her coat gently. That's when he noticed the stitching inside, a tiny label, worn but still visible. "Property of Glendale Memory Home." His heart skipped. He knew that place. It was a high-end memory care facility. The kind of place no one from his neighborhood could ever afford. What was a resident from there doing here alone? He pulled out his phone, dialed the number stitched next to the name. His voice shook a little. "Hi, I think I found one of your residents. An older lady, white hair, blue handbag, she's..." He paused. The woman was now gripping his sleeve, staring at him. She's safe, but I think she's really scared. On the other end, silence. Then chaos. The voice on the line gasped, "Wait, what's her name?" Malik checked the label again. "Margaret." More silence. Then, "Sir, stay with her. Please. That woman is Margaret Hale. She's been missing for 2 days." Margaret Hale. The name meant nothing to Malik. But the way the woman on the phone gasped, the panic in her voice, it meant this was serious. "She's alive," the woman on the phone whispered, like she couldn't believe it. "Is she okay? Is she hurt?" Malik looked at Margaret. She was still holding his arm, tighter now, like she was afraid he'd vanish. He shook his head gently and said, "She's okay. Just confused. But she's safe with me." "We're sending someone right now," the voice said. "Please, don't let her out of your sight." "I won't," Malik promised. He hung up and turned to Margaret, who was now breathing slower, almost calm. She looked at Malik like he was something rare, not because he helped her, but because he saw her. He sat beside her, unsure what else to say. People were still staring. A few took photos. One guy in a suit muttered, "Probably just some runaway granny." "What a waste of time." Malik turned to him, eyes sharp. "She's someone's family." The man rolled his eyes and walked away. Malik looked back at Margaret. "You hungry, ma'am?" She didn't speak, but her eyes moved toward the sandwich in Malik's bag. He unwrapped it without a word and handed it to her. She took it with shaky hands and bit into it like she hadn't eaten in days. 15 minutes passed. Then, a black car screeched up in front of the station. 2 people jumped out, a woman in a nurse's uniform and a tall man in a navy blue suit. They ran toward Malik. "Is it her?" the man asked. The nurse knelt beside Margaret. "Miss Hale, it's me. Sandy. You're okay now." Margaret blinked at her, then at Malik, and finally smiled. The man looked at Malik, completely out of breath. "Son, you have no idea what you've just done." Malik was confused. "Sir?" The man took a deep breath. "That woman, she's not just a resident. She's Margaret Hale, as in Hale Enterprises. Tech billionaire. One of the richest women in the country." Malik froze. "Billionaire?" He looked at Margaret again, the way she ate, the way she clutched her handbag like treasure, and it didn't add up. But he'd learn soon. This was only the beginning. Malik stared at Margaret, stunned. "A billionaire?" He looked at her again, really looked. The wrinkles on her face, the faded coat, the way she gripped that beat-up handbag like it held her whole world. None of it made sense. If she had money, why was she alone? Why was no one looking for her? The man in the suit must have noticed Malik's confusion. He stepped closer and lowered his voice. "She wandered off during a therapy session. Security cameras lost her near a bus stop 2 towns away. We searched for her for 2 days. Police, drones, everything. But she just vanished." The nurse added softly, and with her memory, she wouldn't have remembered her name. Where she lives. Not even who she is. Malik swallowed hard. "Why didn't anyone stop to help her?" he asked quietly. The nurse gave a sad smile. "Because no one saw her." "Not really." The man reached into his coat and handed Malik a card. "If you ever need anything at all, call me. This won't be forgotten." Malik looked down. The card said, "Thomas Hale, CEO, Hale Enterprises." "Wait, Hale?" Malik's eyes widened. "You're her son." Thomas nodded. "That woman raised me. And today, you saved her life." He glanced at Margaret, who had finished her sandwich and was now dozing off peacefully in the nurse's arms. The fear in her eyes had faded. Before they left, Margaret looked at Malik one last time. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Thank you, young man." Then they were gone. The car pulled away, leaving Malik standing alone at the station, card still in hand, heart still racing. He looked around at the same people who had ignored her, who were now watching him, not with suspicion, but with something else. Respect. For the first time in a long while, he felt seen. But what he didn't know, that wasn't the last time he'd hear from the Hales. In fact, it was just the beginning of something far bigger than he could imagine. 3 days passed. Malik was back to his regular life, sweeping floors at the sandwich shop, taking the late train home, helping his little sister with homework. Everything felt the same, but he didn't feel the same. That moment at the station, holding Margaret's hand, watching the world ignore her, it stuck with him. He couldn't shake it. He kept her son's business card in his wallet, but hadn't called. People like that didn't actually mean it when they said, "Call me if you need anything," right? That was just rich people talk. So when the bell rang at the shop one rainy afternoon, Malik didn't expect anything unusual. He was mopping the floor near the counter, earbuds in, zoned out, until the manager tapped him on the shoulder. "Hey, Malik, someone's asking for you." Malik turned and froze. Thomas Hale. Same navy suit, same intense eyes. But this time, he wasn't alone. Next to him stood a woman in heels and a long black coat. She looked like she walked straight out of a magazine. Sharp, professional, powerful. "Malik," Thomas said, stepping forward. "Sorry to drop in like this, but we've been trying to find you. You didn't return our call." Malik blinked. I didn't think it was real." Thomas chuckled. "Most people don't." The woman beside him extended a hand. "I'm Ava. I work with Hale Enterprises. We'd like to talk to you. Somewhere quieter, if that's okay." Malik glanced at his manager, who just shrugged and mouthed, "Go." He followed them outside, heart pounding. Rain drizzled lightly on the sidewalk as they led him to a sleek black SUV parked by the curb. Once inside, Thomas leaned in. "My mother hasn't stopped talking about you," he said. "She doesn't remember much, but she remembers your kindness. That matters." Ava pulled out a folder and handed it to Malik. He opened it slowly. Inside was a scholarship offer. Full ride, tuition, living expenses, everything. And underneath that, an offer letter. Hale Foundation, Youth Outreach Intern. Malik stared at the pages, speechless. Thomas smiled. "Someone once held the door open for me when I was a kid. It changed my whole life. You did that for my mother." He paused. "Now let us do that for you." Malik sat in that SUV, heart pounding so loud he was sure the driver could hear it. The scholarship, the internship, it felt surreal. Like some movie where the underdog gets their shot. But this wasn't a movie. This was real. And for once, it felt like fate was giving him a break. Ava looked at him, calm but intense. "This isn't just a job or some charity," she said softly. "It's a chance to prove yourself, to grow, to change your future." Malik nodded slowly, still trying to process. "Why me?" he finally asked. "Why would a billionaire's family care about a kid like me?" Thomas smiled, a little wistfully. "My mom always said that true wealth isn't money. It's kindness. It's the moments when you don't have to help, but you do anyway." He looked out the window, then back at Malik. "You reminded her of that. And maybe, in a way, you reminded us all." Malik swallowed hard, feeling something shift inside him. Hope, maybe? Or maybe the weight of all the times he felt invisible, ignored. Ava reached into her bag and pulled out a small photo. It was Margaret, but younger, confident, sharp, and vibrant. A woman who ran boardrooms and launched companies that changed lives. "Your kindness saved her, but your journey is just beginning," Ava said. "This opportunity is more than a stepping stone. It's a doorway." Malik felt tears prick his eyes. Not because he was sad, but because he finally saw a future that didn't feel so far out of reach. That day, Malik didn't just get an internship or a scholarship. He got something rarer. A chance to rewrite his story. As the SUV pulled away from the shop and into the city's glowing lights, Malik stared out the window. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't just a kid who swept floors. He was someone with a purpose. And no matter what came next, he was ready. Malik's first day at Hale Enterprises felt like stepping into a whole new world. The glass walls gleamed, the suits whispered deals in hushed tones, and the energy buzzed like electricity. Malik, still clutching the folder Ava gave him, felt out of place, like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to jump into the unknown. But then, a soft voice pulled him back. "Hey, Malik. Welcome." It was Margaret, the same lost woman from the station, now standing tall, radiant even. Her eyes sparkled with the same kindness Malik remembered. She smiled, and for a moment, Malik forgot the nerves. "You made a difference," she said quietly. "You didn't have to help me, but you did." Malik swallowed the lump in his throat. "I just didn't want anyone to feel invisible." Margaret nodded, as if she understood more than words could say. As the day went on, Malik met people he never thought he'd meet: engineers, designers, even the CEO himself, Thomas Hale. They didn't treat him like charity. They treated him like potential. Malik was handed his first task: research for a youth outreach project. Simple, but important. Hours flew by. He soaked up every detail, every conversation. By lunchtime, Malik caught a glimpse of himself in a shiny elevator mirror. Gone was the dusty jacket, the tired eyes. Instead, he saw someone who mattered. Later, in a quiet moment, Margaret pulled Malik aside. "There's something you should know," she whispered. Malik leaned in. "I'm fighting to recover more than just my memory," she said. "I'm fighting to rebuild a life I lost." Malik's heart clenched. "But with people like you, maybe, just maybe, there's hope." And that hope? It sparked a fire in Malik's chest. He realized helping her wasn't just a moment of kindness, it was the start of a mission. To change not only her life, but his own. Because sometimes, the smallest act can flip a whole world upside down. And Malik? He was ready to flip his. Weeks passed. Malik wasn't just an intern anymore, he was part of something bigger. He wasn't just a kid from the sandwich shop. He was seen, heard, and valued. One rainy evening, Malik found himself back at the same train station where he'd met Margaret. Only this time, he wasn't alone. Margaret stood beside him, leaning on her cane, a faint smile lighting up her face. "Do you remember this place?" she asked softly. Malik nodded. "I do. It's where I first helped you." She chuckled, a warm sound that melted years of pain. "You helped more than me, Malik. You helped everyone who thought they were invisible." They watched as people hurried past, some glancing curiously at the unlikely pair. "Funny," Malik said, "how a simple handhold can change so much." Margaret's eyes twinkled. "Kindness is the most powerful thing we have. Money can't buy it. Fame can't force it." Malik looked at her, truly looked, and felt grateful beyond words. Then she reached into her pocket and handed him a small envelope. "Open this when you get home." Malik took it carefully. That night, he tore it open. Inside was a letter from Margaret herself. To Malik, "You gave me back my hope when I thought all was lost. Your kindness rewrote my story, and now I want to help you rewrite yours. I'm proud of the man you're becoming. This is just the beginning." Along with the letter was a check, not just any check, but a significant sum to start Malik's own project. A community center, a place for kids like him to dream bigger. Tears blurred his vision. From that lost old woman, to a billionaire's gratitude, to a new purpose. Malik's world had flipped completely. And all because he dared to reach out, to care, to see. He smiled, knowing one truth. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness changes everything. True wealth isn't counted in dollars, it's measured in kindness. Sometimes, the smallest act of compassion can change not just one life, but the entire world around us.